Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Congregation Beth Israel in Houston. Live streaming is here for you. I'm delighted that we can share the Shabbat together, sharing beautiful prayers, inspiring music, and an important message. As the week continues and Shabbat begins, please accept my very best wishes for good health, much life, and greater peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos to each of you. As we come into the sanctuary tonight, we set aside what has surely been for each of us in our own separate ways a very busy week. And so our prayers and songs are set apart to create for us a sacred space and a sacred time. Those prayers that help us to feel in God's presence that we have many reasons to feel grateful despite our challenges, and certainly in the face of our joys to feel even more blessed. And together, as we look around to each other, we feel that we aren't alone at all, but rather part of a congregational family, here to enter into the spirit of Shabbat, a time of greater joy and the hope for greater peace. And so we join together now as we sing and welcome the sweetness of this day.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue with the singing of Yedid Nefesh on page 10, followed by the singing of Lecha Dodi on page 20. So please join us as we welcome in Shabbat together.
Oh
prayer book now, we turn to page 2 and 3. It's a privilege to invite Candace Frank and Judy Radoff to lead us in the blessing over the Sabbath lights.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own way, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Page 146, we rise for our call to worship, Baruch Hu. Page 148, responsively. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world.
In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth.
In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Together, you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Responsively, we worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
Enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Come on.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Together, the people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed.
We continue now with Hatfilah on pages 155 and 156. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah.
Page 158 together. Praised be the God whose gift is life, whose cleansing rains let parched men and women rise again. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. We continue together on page 160. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. May we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 164. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Together, strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom.
We take a moment now for silent reflection.
our prayers and songs lift us up, refresh, and renew us. It works for us. We hope it works for those who are dear to us in our circle of friends and family circles, who are at home, in the hospital, recuperating and recovering. For them and for all of us, we share a prayer for healing, and especially this night, we are thinking of Susan Pye, Michael O'Connor, Steve Trumpeter, John Bryant, Dan Lightman, Marilyn Silman, Larry Ricklin. For them and for all who are dear to us, we can turn to page 253 and find the words for our Misha Berach, our prayer for their health and well-being. Please join us. Sometimes our prayers are very personal. Our joy continues on Shabbat as we give thanks to God for the gift of new life. And it's a great pleasure to invite Jacqueline and Adam Carmel to the Bima as they accompany their little boy for a blessing. As they come forward, we extend Mazel Tov to Sherry and Robert Fleischman, to Lori and Michael Carmel, his grandparents. And as they come forward and join me here, Carolyn Fleischman is a beloved member of our congregation too, and this little boy represents her 25th great-grandchild. Mekor Chaim, source of all life, this little child comes into your presence with his parents, seeking your blessing upon his life, his days, his years. As his parents dream about his future, they pray that you will always be with him, guiding and sustaining him. We hope that you will open his eyes and his heart to all the beauty and wonder of the world around you, and also the beauty and wonder that you have created within him. And to this little boy, we give the beautiful name Jacob Lawrence, and in Hebrew, Yaakov ben Elchanan Shmuel v'Yaakova. May it be a name honored in the household of Israel, and may all who come to know this little boy be blessed. And as we've shared some time earlier today, it's our hope and prayer that this congregation will always be a blessing to him, and that he, as he continues to grow, will be a blessing to our congregation and to our people. But let's share the blessing so that everyone can appreciate what our hope is for you and for his parents with him. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's countenance shine upon you and be good to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God grant you all that all of us wish for you and your family together. Long life, much love, mitzvah, and a world to enter filled with greater peace. Amen. And for the sake of our joy and that we share with the family, let's share our prayer of gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruling Spirit of the universe, who has kept us in life and sustained us and permitted us to share such enormous joy. Amen. Mazel tov again. Mazel tov. And mazel tov to his wonderful, enormous family. We are delighted to share this night with everyone and those who are live streaming too, because this weekend, as we open our Scholar in Residence season, we are delighted to welcome Dr. Miriam Heller-Stern. Dr. Stern joined Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, our Reform seminary in which our rabbis, cantors, and educators are trained, in 2016 as the National Director of the School of Education. She is passionate about empowering Jewish educational leaders to engage in their work intentionally, skillfully, and creatively. Her graduate courses at HUC include Social Foundations of Jewish Education and Teaching for the New Millennium. She has published widely in various academic and professional journals and popular media outlets, and is a frequent presenter at academic and professional conferences for educators. Dedicated to elevating the quality of Jewish education options across the Jewish community, Dr. Stern serves as a coach, mentor, and advisor to Jewish educational leaders, institutions, and initiatives across the United States. Together with her husband, Jonathan, she proudly channels her interest in creativity into parenting their 3 elementary and middle school aged children. And tonight it's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Stern to our pulpit, to our congregation, to teach us so that we may learn together this weekend. Dr. Stern, please join me, and as rabbis and cantor on this bima who love to learn and teach Torah, we are looking forward to learning from you as well. Welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi Lyon, for such a warm welcome. I want to thank the clergy and the staff and the lay leadership of this community for welcoming me with such gracious hospitality today. It's really just a privilege to be here, and especially to share this evening with 2 B'nai Mitzvah. I am a recently made it through being a bar mitzvah mom myself, so I can relate to what you're going through. And it's a pleasure to be with you to share the celebration. Being with these bar mitzvah boys reminds me of a story that I wanted to start with about my own son, Elijah, who just 13, who at a recent dinner, I think it was over Rosh Hashanah, poked his head up suddenly at the table and said, "Mom, Dad, do you have proof that God exists?" We kind of looked at each other, and these are these moments, you know, when parents kind of look at each other like, are you going to field this one? Are you going to field this one? And I was thinking, couldn't he just ask a simple question like, where do babies come from? But I'm not sure what he was expecting. Signs, wonders, miracles, fire and brimstone, but we usually stay away from that stuff. As an educator, I like to go with real-life examples. And so I said, if you want to see God, watch your little sister, who's 5, play. And he sort of looked at me, that's strange. And I said, you know, it's interesting out there in the world of education, there's a way that we're engaging kids in playing that looks a lot like the work of God. So I'll give you an example. At the MIT Media Lab, which is a school that centers around creative and imaginative projects, they have this God work actually down to a science. They do Lego, robotics, coding. The teachers guide, and they watch, and kids engage in what they call the creative learning spiral. The creative learning spiral looks something like this. It starts with imagination. That's the first step. So you see kids imagine a place, a tool, a structure. They develop a story and characters around it. Then they create what they imagine. out of Legos, toy figures, other supplies. They play, they share their ideas, they decide if it's good or if it should be tweaked. Is this truck really a car? Is it really a car with wings? Is it a flying ninja bird? Maybe it's a rocket boat that can only be powered by solar, star, dust. You get the idea. The possibilities are endless with kids. The tweaking and improving continues through this spiral. This is what folks in the innovation and tech world call design thinking or iteration. Us lay people just call it reflection. But it's a spiral, and then it begins again, and the imagination continues. Now, what's interesting for our purposes gathered here on a Friday night on Shabbat, celebrating the end of a week of creative activity, is that this process in the design lab, in the media lab, curiously parallels the process in the creation story. You see, our little kindergartners are doing the work of God right before our very eyes. The creation story, as laid out in last week's Torah portion, goes something like this. God sees a need, devises a solution, implements it, and then pauses to reflect on it. And says a simple phrase. The phrase is, Vayar ki tov. The narrator says, God saw it was good. And this goes on, this cycle, 6 days in a row, until finally God says, you know what we need? Shabbat. My brain hurts. Now, just a week later, this week, we come to the Torah portion where just 1 week after creation and the dawn of humanity, this newly created world turns out to be a pretty disappointing place for God. And God goes from seeing it was good over and over to wanting to destroy it all with a flood. How did things change so quickly from one portion to the next? Now, we actually know from a world that changes quickly. It's become almost cliche in my world, in the world of education, to say that our world is changing rapidly. One of the most oft-cited rationales for changing how we educate our kids is because we live in a new world. It's changing so rapidly, we don't know what's next. And it's the reason why we see in a lot of Jewish schools the growth of new STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and math, maker spaces, coding clubs, robotics competitions. We want learning to be relevant to our kids' world so that it can help them navigate in an unknown future. MIT Media Lab professor Mitchell Resnick says, the pace of change continues to accelerate, and thus the challenge for education is that people must learn how to adapt constantly to changing conditions. Success in the future for individuals, for communities, for companies, for nations as a whole will be based on the ability to think and act creatively. I'm here this weekend with you to explore the possibility that this creativity of thought and action should not be relegated to the science lab or the child's play or the innovation and tech sector, but should be applied to the enterprise of Jewish learning and living. The daily creative process in Parashat Breshit, in the opening paragraphs of Genesis, includes a phrase that gives me particular inspiration. That moment when the Creator pauses and says, it's good. That is a moment of reflection and assessment. God doesn't call it a day until that moment of pause and reflection. And that moment, that pause, helps us slow down that pace of change. It helps us take in what's in front of us. I believe that the repetition of this phrase, of seeing the good, is supposed to signal to us the optimism, the belief that something new can be created even out of chaos. It's good. It signals thoughtful action. It's that process of looking at what is in front of us, seeing a need and saying, let's do it, let's fix it. It signals imagination, developing a vision of what's possible. And finally, it signals gratitude, pausing to witness the beauty and the value of what is. This fast pace of innovation in the world that we're living in, we move from one iPhone to the next, one computer to the next. My iPhone keeps crashing because it keeps upgrading and the upgrades don't work and I can't keep up. We're constantly trying to keep up with what's new and do it as quickly as possible. But this reminder on Shabbat to pause and say it's good, it helps us slow down and appreciate what's in front of us. It helps us leverage our optimism to even greater, more complicated tasks and challenges. So when children play together and share and improvise and co-create and dream, you see God's work. The hard part is, how do we do it as grown-ups? Well, I think that if we take the time to play together, to create together, whether we're creating community, new programs and activities and study groups, whether we're coming up with new solutions to difficult challenges in our society, we are doing God's work. In this week's portion, we will study in depth tomorrow together. That's a little PSA to come and join us in the morning for Torah study. We'll see what happens when human creativity goes awry. In just one portion, God creates the world, and the next one, he destroys it. In that same story, just as humanity dusts itself off from the flood, their collaboration is for self-interest. They build a tower for evil and for domination, as opposed to for good. It's doomed to be a symbol of misdirected aspiration and confusion. Babel, it's called. My friends, I want to suggest that the story of the flood comes on the heels of the story of creation to remind us that we have a moral obligation to use our creativity not just for competition, but for good. We need to help one another. As the tides of negativity and distrust flood our public discourse, we have the power to devise creative solutions to the problems of our day. You see, creativity is not about drawing or art or filmmaking, even though I come from the part of the country where people are pretty obsessed with filmmaking. It is about having original ideas of value. Creativity is about thought and action and problem solving. We need the patience to refine those ideas. We need the social skills to enlist the assistance and perspective of our friends and neighbors and make our creative work matter in the world. And these are dispositions that educators can teach and kids can learn. We can look to our children and grandchildren for inspiration. Their imagination is contagious, their joy unbridled, their possibilities are endless. Over the course of this weekend together, we're going to explore how Jewish learning spaces, our schools, our camps, our communities, can be laboratories for this kind of creative collaboration in a Jewish space, for Jewish dreaming and thinking. Because while we may be motivated to preserve our heritage and our history, there's still a future left for us to create. Shabbat Shalom. I look forward to learning with you throughout the weekend.
Dr. Stern, we are very grateful for giving us the permission to understand that being creative is our Jewish moral obligation, not to accept the world as it is, but to imagine the world as it ought to be, and to reflect from time to time, at least once a week on Shabbat, and to conclude that what we've contributed is very good. And perhaps if it isn't, always the opportunity to try again. So we look forward to studying with Dr. Stern, and we encourage you to join us through the weekend. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise. As we take our places before the Holy Ark, we appreciate now that the commandment to create, the commandment to rest, continues to rest upon us. And as each generation contributes to the world around us, building and making what ought to be, we trust that the next generation will learn from us so that they may do it well and perhaps do it even better than we. Looking at these two young men, I have every confidence that we're in very good hands. but it begins with the moral obligation that is found in Torah. So it's our privilege tonight to pass the Torah and its teachings once more, from grandparents to parents to children. In our prayer book, we turn now to the bottom of page 282 and 287 as we join in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה ושמו אחד.
Page 294. We take this time now to call to heart and mind those dear ones who departed this earth and enter the peace of life eternal in recent days. Lovingly we remember Seth Shirley, Elaine B. Finn, Sally Waldman, and we add the names of those the anniversary of whose death is observed this Shabbat. Gary Rakusin, Max Marks, Morris Schiffman, Jaime Kirshner, Mordecai Ephraim, Willard Glazer, Catherine Lau, Albert Levin, Maxwell Lyons, William Miles, Yetta Miller, Saul Rubenstein, Hetty Sonnenberg, Sadie Strauss, Nathan Young, Mark Zagarin, Richard Negarita, Harvey Oshman, Lillian Pollock, Robert Schechter, Emmanuel Wiesenthal, Morris Katz, Rebecca Lipsitz, Irene Myers, Alfred Rosenthal, Izzy Berman, Joe Brown, Florence Davis, Alan Field, Natalie Field, Francis Frapart, Herman Glosserman, Sadie Levitch, Hyman Miller, Fred Nichols, Daniel Selzer, Bertha Steinhardt, Zev Tannenbaum, Irving Weiner, Ilyas Yanklevich, Maurice Bradley, Molly Bradley, Rose Epstein, Sean Hurwitz, Lily Lewis, Rose Robin, Samuel Rubin, Herschel Ackerman, Ray Block, Richard Brave, Moses Holland, Fanny Peltison, Selma Cecil, Manny Simon, Leonora White, Ray Wiesel, Mildred Wool, Rocco Aquino Jr., Richard Barron, Phyllis Fallick, Sidney Gilbert, Harvey Hoffner, Brandon Lipo, Dorothy Portnoy, Marjorie Wynn, Abe Zuber, Marty Clark, Jane Dreyfus. In their memory and in their honor, we rise as a congregation and join in the reciting of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadav yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrachute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayed chol beit Yisrael, Bagalav v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitshomam v'yitnaseh, v'yidadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'gudesha brichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn and comfort to all the bereaved among us, as together we say, amen. Turn our attention to the Kiddush so that we may sanctify the Sabbath day, the day in which we give thanks to God for the gifts of our life. Our B'nai Mitzvah will lead us in the Kiddush, and we can follow them on page 5.
The heaven and the earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the Holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the Exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your Holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. We therefore raise the cup in thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho, be'ahava uvratzon, Hinchilanu, Zikaron lemase bereshit, ki hu yom tehila, lemikre kodesh, zeher letziat Mizraim, ki vanu baharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kosheha, be'ahava uratzon, hinhaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name is Irving Stern, and I have the privilege of serving as president of Congregation Beth Israel's Board of Trustees. Mazel tov to the families of Colin Frank and Benjamin Radoff, who are becoming B'nai Mitzvah this Shabbat. Thank you to our entire clergy team and to Dr. Miriam Heller-Stern for joining us this weekend. If you made a reservation for dinner tonight with Dr. Stern, please join in Wolf Tuman Hall immediately following the services. Tomorrow morning, Dr. Stern will be leading our Torah study class at 9:45 a.m., and everyone is invited to a Havdalah and happy hour at 5 p.m. in the Margolis Gallery with Dr. Stern. This is being sponsored by our Brotherhood and Sisterhood. On Sunday morning at 10:15, in the Margolis Gallery, Dr. Stern will lead a discussion with all parents of religious school-aged children entitled Unplugging to Recharge, Shabbat as a Family Lifeline. All are welcome. Next Friday night, I hope you will join me for a special service as we install Dr. Michelle Barton, our new head of the Schlenker School. During tonight's Oneg, Stan Levy, Marcus Litovsky, and I look forward to welcoming you to Congregation Beth Israel. Please join us in Wolf Tuman Hall following services. I've just made an executive decision, and I'm going off script. It is my unauthorized privilege to tell you that today is Rabbi Lyon's birthday. I invite all of us to wish him, and I think you just did, a hearty mazel tov. Shabbat Shalom.
Our closing song is not Happy Birthday. Our closing song is Adon Olam, and the words are on page 321. Please rise and join us all in singing.